So what did you want to work on?
Basically just I feel like my happiness and success threshold is pretty low. And it's very predictable for me. Like whenever things are going really well, I'll say to myself, I'm like, okay, so just expect you're going to get really depressed and think things are awful in a day or two. Because I will just automatically self-sabotage to keep myself down.
Okay.
And I just, yeah, like I see that in my business, in my personal life, like I've done a bunch of work on it, but it still just seems like there's this thing I can't quite, I don't know if fix is the right word, but.
Get it. Yeah. Okay. So what would a success look like to you? Like success for us, not in your life, but like.
Okay.
Well, we could look at that as well, but a success in our session today. What could I help you with so that you do your little happy dance afterwards and get a nice result from our session?
Yeah. I think a success would look like helping me to release or to access, I think to access something I had as a child that I think I have closed myself off from. I don't know if it's a psychic ability or something, but I feel like I definitely put like a lid on something.
And I have permission to record you?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's good imagery. Let's work with that.
Is it good for you? I don't know what you need to see, but is like this good? Do you want me sideways or I don't know?
No, this is perfect. This is
okay.
Perfect. I'm just gonna, change my view a little bit. Okay, yeah, and you can hear me okay for the session and everything? So go ahead and take a deep breath and close your eyes when you're ready. And just turn your thoughts inward, letting go of the to-do list, the busyness of the day, all those other things that draw attention, and just bring your attention deep into the center of your being. And let's just take one more deep breath and release any tension. And imagine for a moment that there's a ball of light at your feet, glistening and shining and radiating. And that ball of light begins to move up along your body, gathering up the perceptions and the sensations, leaving behind a completely relaxed body as it moves up across your legs, across your lap, and now moving up across your torso as it opens your chakras, balances your energies. That ball of light moving up higher across your throat. And now up into the center of your forehead, into the third eye, energizing the third eye, allowing it to expand and building that channel of energy between your subconscious mind and your conscious mind, allowing that energy to flow. And I invite you to imagine being in your favorite safe space, that place of relaxation, protection, and connection. And as you find yourself in your safe space now, remaining this relaxed and yet able to speak, how would you describe your safe space to me?
It's my grandparents' old house. It's very warm and cozy and very light.
And are you in a particular room of that house?
No, I'm kind of seeing the living room and the dining room and the plant room. I'm
Okay.
not in one space.
Okay. So as you move around that space right now, you begin to just observe what it looks like and how it feels to have that energy wrapped all around you. What energy comes to you from this figurine?
Just very settled and peaceful, um, very relaxed. It's not a it's not an energy like a strong energy, but more like low key.
Okay. And so if this figurine was like a Harry Potter magical tool, and you could use it in your life like magic to make things happen or to manifest something, how would you use this?
It would just help me calm down. Um, just help me to like take a deep breath and be more present in the moment and let go of the anxiety.
So holding on to this figurine now and settling into a place there in that location in your safe space where you can begin a meditation. And you settle in and relax, holding your figurine and just taking a breath and allowing yourself to connect to all the lifetimes that you have meditated deeply and allowing your brain waves to synchronize with that pattern. Simply slowing it down and going deep and allowing that to deepen throughout our session. And as I count from 3 to 1, allowing yourself to be teleported to a sacred healing space, a place of dense energy that is there just for you, for your healing and growth. 3, 2, 1. And as you find yourself in your sacred healing space, how would you describe this location to me?
It's a um, like an overhanging in a cliff
Uh-huh.
filled with crystals, lots of like purple crystals. Um, yeah, very dark and earthy and just crystals everywhere.
So I'd like for you to touch something so that you can just ground yourself there. And what is it you touch?
Purple crystal.
Okay. And how does it feel when you touch it? Like what happens inside? Or what do you notice?
The crystal is sharp and it sort of spreads its energy throughout my finger and into my body.
And what is the nature of that energy?
It's just very open. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but um, a very clear, very open energy.
Okay. And so again, being seated to begin another meditation, going even deeper this time. And I want you to, as you go deeper and deeper into this meditation, I want you to begin to think back about this trait that you think that you've put aside, or you said you had a lid on it. And so I want you to really imagine that metaphor, this trait, this talent, and this lid, and describe it to me so that I could see it the way you do.
Mm. I'm not exactly sure what it is. Um, it might just be sort of that childhood magic that we all have.
Okay.
Um, I mean, I have an instant sense that all of, our devices and social media and all of that really keep me from accessing it.
Okay. All right. So I want you to imagine going back to when you were small and you had that childhood magic. And how old were you when you were in the midst of it, when you were in the heyday of your magic?
Probably 6.
Okay. And I just want you to imagine being 6, right? Just being that version of you. And what's it like to just be moving through life with that magic inside?
There's a strong sense of possibilities and stories. Um, Sort of a sense of silliness and joy. Um, and I guess just a strong sense of my inner world that's really different. Um, that I think I only access now during meditation.
Okay. And so I want you to locate that energy, that inner magic inside of you as a 6-year-old. Like, what does it feel like? Or, like, if it had a shape and a color, if I gave you a full size photo of you and I said, Here's some crayons. I want you to paint this so that I can see what you're experiencing. What would that look like?
Hmm. If I were painting it, it would be this white energy coming up from my legs and all throughout my body, especially in the chest and the head and my throat. Um, yeah, just be this white energy everywhere.
Okay. But it's coming up through your legs, so it's in that upward motion.
Yeah.
It's moving. Okay. Okay. And so I want you to just move forward in your life to where something happens and that's no longer so easily accessible. So when you get to that threshold of where that starts changing, tell me what's happening and how old are you?
Hmm. I really hate for it to go here. I'm in college, falling in love for the first time.
Okay.
Um, and it's very magical.
Uh-huh. Okay. So that white energy is still with you there. When you're falling in love, um, is that white energy still there with you?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, if we follow, I'm like, my body feels like it's moving left and right and it's making me dizzy. I'm
That's
trying to stop it. Um, I haven't had that happen before.
uh-huh. Sometimes that happens because as we observe our past, we actually change it. And so we start shifting between aspect fields, and that can cause a little bit of dizziness. So maybe that's too much tech for you at this moment, but it is an explanation. So it's okay. But if it's disturbing, we can try to do something different. But so as you're moving through there, what else are you noticing?
Just I'm envisioning us taking a walk. We used to take walks at like midnight.
Uh-huh.
Um, and there'd be these trees that would sort of glisten in the light at night, kind of the way the light is in my body. Um, and just the thought that if this is where my mind is going, it drives me crazy that I would give him and that so much power. Um, yeah, I'm just kind of noticing our midnight walks and that,
And okay, go ahead.
no, and just sort of the magic of that.
Okay. So what do you mean by giving him so much power?
Oh, just to give someone who was such a jerk so much power to change how I am. Um, I kind of hate that.
Huh?
Hate
Yeah.
that problem.
Yeah. Well, we have to find it, so maybe we can make some corrections, right?
Yeah.
So what happened to this white magic energy then in this um, relationship with him or during this time period?
Mm. The the answer that's coming up is that my grandpa died.
Okay.
Um, that was actually right before I met him. Um, and that might have had more to do with it than the guy.
Okay. So let's just back up a little bit before your grandpa died. And then as you're moving through, just keep paying attention to the white energy and see what happens. And what are you noticing?
Yeah. My grandpa had a heart attack. And then very soon after that, I met this guy and fell very in love and got very obsessed with him. Um, and then got my heart broken very hard. And and I think there was just a final shutting down, sort of a culmination of mistrust of many men, fathers, stepfathers in my life. Uh, and a decision not to really love like that again.
Mhm. Okay. And so from the time that you had all that white energy and then your grandpa died, just like go in slow motion there, just in that event. And what's the status of that white energy then? Or,
Uh,
your aura in general too, but just what's happening there.
it's like it's crackly, like lightning kind of, but it's there.
Okay.
And then I was depressed, but it was still there. It was just kind of dull and dusty. And then it's like it's almost like I gave that all to the guy.
Okay. And can you see that happening? Can you see how it happened or the the flow of that energy or just the knowledge that later it wasn't there anymore?
Yeah, it wasn't all at once, but yeah, I can definitely see it happening. Just um letting go of or giving up sort of my own sovereignty to him.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to when you were a little younger and you had it. Okay. And it was all there intact, beautiful flowing white energy. And this time, I want to have you walk through that event again, your grandpa dying and then falling in love with this guy. But this time, I want you to hang on to that energy. Actually, before we do that, why don't you have your adult Iris talk to the young Iris and just explain to her why it's important to hang on to that, or give her some good advice from your perspective. And what would you tell her?
Yeah, she doesn't fully understand my reasoning, but she's like, okay.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah. Sort of like an adult telling you, like, here's how things are, and here's you need to hold
Yeah.
on to this.
Right, right. Did you tell her what the result is of letting that go? Of how precious that energy is and how later in life you'll miss it, right?
Mm.
That, how that affects so that she can see some long-term results of her giving that away. So just talk to her a little bit about that, just so she understands the importance. And how does that go?
Good. I'm helping her to see how powerful it is and how important it is to hold on to that, especially so that when she has kids, she'll be able to raise them from a place of more power and strength.
Okay. All right. Anything else before we move on? I mean, is she good?
Yeah, she's
Okay.
good.
All right, good. So again, starting at just before your grandpa died, now walking through, and we're going to get you onto one of those other aspect fields, one of those other timelines where you did actually hold on to it. Okay. And that version of your timeline is just as real as the one you think you remember. So this time, walk through and have her hold on to that, hold on to her power, her magic, and just tell me how it goes, if she's successful or if there's any difficulties. And what do you notice this time?
I'm sort of going back and forth between these two ideas of if she held on to that, she wouldn't have even ended up being with him. Um, or just the idea of what it would have looked like if she had, or if I had.
Mm-hmm.
These two kind of ideas are just sort of both playing out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And which aspect do you choose?
Hmm. I choose not to even be with him.
Okay. And so now go back to just before your grandpa died. And as you move through it this time, and you hold on to that white energy, what are you noticing as you move down the timeline this time?
Giving myself more time to mourn, letting myself be sad and not kind of jumping into something else to avoid that sadness.
Mm-hmm. And then what happens?
Well, time goes by, and at some point I'd fall in love with somebody else, but with a much greater sense of myself and an unwillingness to compromise and be with someone who didn't treat me right.
Mm-hmm. And so then, as you continue through the timeline up to the present moment, holding on to that energy, anything else happen along the way? Or can you successfully bring it all the way up to the present?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't have been with my second boyfriend either.
I think we all have a few of those in our closet. Sometimes they bring us good lessons and remind us who we are and how we need to defend that, right? Were there any good lessons from the second boyfriend?
Hmm, there were good things from him. Yeah, there were good lessons, mistakes that I made that I have learned from.
Okay. So would it be okay to leave him there? I mean, okay. So moving forward, holding on to that white energy. What do you notice next?
Mm. I notice a number of times where I've given away my own energy to other people. And just little shifts in how things could have been different.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to see those shifts now on your
Well, some of them.
okay. Okay, just holding on to that white energy is the more important thing today. So even if we make mistakes, they can be used for lessons, but we want to maintain that energy. Right? Is there any point where we need to go in and do a little work, or it's hard to hold on to that white energy?
Um, just with my 6-year-old, I find it's very hard to hold on to my energy with her. It's very codependent energy between us.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it's not good for either of us.
Okay. So when you think about your daughter, two of you together, how do you see that white energy shifting? How does it change your energy field or the white energy?
I see her trying to grab it. Um, and it's just like being pulled into, it's just, yeah, like she's trying to take it away constantly.
Okay. Um, if you could imagine now your daughter sitting in front of you or standing in front of you, you could have a conversation with her at a very deep subconscious level. What would you want to teach her or talk to her about that would help her to maybe change that part of the behavior or that dynamic, help you both change that dynamic? What would you say to her?
I'd want her to understand her own her own energy and her own strength instead of trying to take it from somebody else.
Tell her directly. Just say, I want you to understand. And how does she respond to that?
I'm trying to get past what I know of her and sort of get to that deeper level, talking to her on a
Yeah, just be neutral and allow her to respond. Or ask her what it is what is she really trying to do or have?
okay. I think I have an understanding.
Okay. And is that resolved? more or less? Or is there anything more I can do to help?
No, that's resolved. Yeah.
Okay. And so then can you imagine the energy between you and now um, correct it in whatever way would be best for you, if that's separating it or, connecting it in a different way. So how would you rearrange that energy?
I'm just seeing all of us, all four of us in our family with our own energy kind of contained so that we're all strong and not kind of tangling up in each other.
Mm-hmm. And how does that feel?
Feels really good. Um, it feels like it'll take practice,
Mm-hmm.
but it feels good and doable.
Okay. So then as you know, re-access your white energy and you're moving forward, is that feeling good? Moving it forward all the way up to this present moment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so how do you feel it inside of you? How does that feel different?
I can feel it kind of pushing up through my throat. Like there are some blockages there that it's helping to push out of the way.
Okay.
And just helping me to sit straighter up.
Okay. So the blockage we can hold for another session or can be dealt with separately. But now that it's there, if you were to hold on to this precious magic energy into every moment of the future, how do you think that your life will be different this week, over this week?
It'll just be an easier week um, with a lot less tension, lot less anxiety.
Anything else?
No, just more peace on Christmas. Not getting too wrapped up in needing to make it look a certain way or be a certain way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And if you were to continue to hold on to this white energy, this magic inside of you, each and every moment of the future moving forward, how do you think the next month will be?
I think it'll be a better month financially. I'll have a lot more confidence in what I'm doing in my business and ability to put that out there better.
And how do you think life will be in 3 months from now that you have this white energy with you, magical, childlike energy?
I see things being better with my kids, less fighting between them over me, and more joy for me when I'm with them. and more making choices that are the right choices for me, especially in my business, instead of just thinking about what everybody needs but me.
Ah, good. I call that sacred selfishness. Good dose of that, right? Excellent. Okay. And so, is there anything else that we can do for you, I can do for you today in this regard? Is that feeling pretty good?
No, that feels complete.
Okay. So, remembering all that you've experienced in this session and allowing the subconscious mind to continue to bring you insight, wisdom, and understanding in the days to come. As I count from 1 to 5, returning here to the present moment, refreshed, alert, and aware. 1, 2, 3, coming up. 4, aware of this time and space. And 5, fully alert and aware and returned here to the present moment.
Mm. Thank you.
That was wonderful.
Yeah, that was not at all where I expected things to go.
Yeah.
Not that they ever go where I expect them to.
Right, exactly. We're in charge of all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that'll be really, really helpful, especially with my business this next month.
Yeah. Okay, well, I will let you go for today then. And thank you so much.